Hello everybody, welcome to Marxist class, where our subject for today, we're going to be talking about starvation. But before we get into that, before we throw ourselves into that grim reality, we're going to talk about why is it called Marxist class and not Marxism class, because we're not going to be focusing on just Marxism, we're going to be focusing on the world and problems within the world, problems within current systems that exist, such as capitalism, and finding the answers to the problems of these systems through a Marxist lens. So starvation, right? It's not a very good thing. It's almost a problem that everyone decides unanimously that they want to solve. But how do we solve that problem? To solve the problem, we have to understand the problem. For that, I'm going to draw a pyramid. This is the bourgeois class. These are the ruling class. And they own all of the land, the resources, the labor, but most importantly for today, they own basic needs. And this is the poor, the working class, and then right around here, the very, very bottom, is where our people are starving. But why does this matter that they own the basic needs? It's because, well, what goal do they have in mind? What do they want to do with these things? They want to profit, and that's incredibly important because they prioritize profit over basic human need. So, for an example, a hypothetical example, there's this rich guy, right? He's very happy, he's very rich, he owns all these slices of bread here, and he's not sharing with a lot of poor people, and they're all so sad, and they're all starving. But why does he not share with them? Because he wants to make money off of them. He has the goal of profit in mind. And these people, they're not very profitable for him. So why should he care about them? If they're not doing anything to give him money, then why should he care about them or whether or not they live or die? So where does the idea of artificial scarcity come in? Well, one is because basic needs, they're not scarce. We have a lot of them. There's plenty enough to go around, way more than enough to go around. I don't need to prove this to you because all you need to do to have this evidence, to have this proof, is walk into a supermarket. We have way more than enough. Way more enough basic needs. We have all of the houses. We have all of the schools to educate people. We have all the hospitals to keep people alive. But they're seen as something to profit off of and not as something that are basic human rights, at least in a capitalist society. So this scarcity mindset, this idea that we don't have enough, there's too little money in the world, there's too little things in the world to feed us all, that's why people starve, that's not true. There's plenty of everything to go around. So we know the problem, but what could possibly be the solution to this problem? How do you make it so people don't starve? What's a better system? Well, a better system is when, obviously, you turn that triangle on its head and you have these people be the ruling class of the nation. They publicly own the basic needs. So your needs are absolutely secured to you. So these people that would otherwise have been threatened by the system are now beneficiaries of the system. They all get their bread according to their need, so that no one goes hungry because of a system. But there's this thing, this idea that stands in the way of that, and it's called private property. And private property is seen as an excuse to take everything and to hold it against them, to hold this overabundance of basic needs, of resources against them for profit. And communists want to get rid of that. Communists say private property is not justified in any way. It's essentially stealing their basic needs from them. So one could argue that private property is theft. Before we end the lesson for today, what I'm going to answer the question for is, if they already have their basic needs, why would they work? I get this question a lot. It doesn't really have much to do with the lesson, but I just want to answer it really quickly. You have to understand that it's just their needs. It's nothing else. Their needs become a whole lot less important to them once they actually have their needs met. So what becomes important to them is luxury items. So the expensive new coat you wanted, or the purse you wanted, something you want, not something necessarily that you need. And that's an easy thing to answer. The harder you work, the more luxury things you get. It's more proportional. That way it makes sense. So one person can work hard to get what he wants, and he gets what he contributes in an equal amount. But most importantly, his needs are met, and those are always prioritized. And you don't have to apply this to just starvation. You can apply this to almost any measure you think about. Think about the housing market. Think about water. Think about basic needs as a whole, rather than just food in this case. I hope you learned a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Go get 'em.